today's gonna be some preliminary checks that I do. As you guys saw in the last clip, it started. That was cool, but now I gotta drive it. I gotta get what's called a VIN verification to be able to title it in this state. So, and yeah, they made it a pain in the butt. They just changed up some rules. I used to be able to do them very conveniently right next to the house, but now I gotta drive 20 minutes across town to do it. So I'm gonna be making a bit of a maiden voyage with this thing, so I wanna go over a few things that I'm gonna check out before I go drive it across town. One of those things that I wanna do that's specific to these motors is the starter bracket, the little brace that goes on the end of the starter, the back of the starter. I'll get into this a little bit later. Hopefully I have the right one. I want to check all the fluids, and then I'm going to install a temperature gauge because it just has an idiot light on the dash, and I could test that to see if it works, but realistically I won't trust it when I'm driving across town. These things, people complain they blow head gaskets and get hot, and I want to avoid that since it seems to run fine right now and I don't have any mixing in the oil and the coolant. So I want to get a temp gauge on there before I drive it, just so I can make sure it's not actually overheating. First thing I'm going to try to check is the transfer case. Now it is leaking down here, so I know I've got some fluid. I don't really think this is necessary. And the guy who sold it to me, everything checked out. He was the one who did the swap for this MP205 and the SM465. I don't think he would have just thrown them in and not put any fluid in, but you never know. And it was sitting for a long time, so. It's more than an inch down, so I'm gonna have to grab one of these trusty sticks that are hanging around here. Butter, stop it, you're not helping. All right, yeah. We got fluid probably about an inch, inch and a half, or inch and a quarter down. So that's fine for the NP205. Go ahead and fill that back up and we'll take care of the leaks later. Could have used to be tighter. Maybe that's where the leak is coming from. Alright. Yes, it's either this cover or there, and the cover's got RTV on it, so could be that, but it could have been that drain plug. It's not a lot. Okay, SM465. Been a minute, but I see a square looking drain bolt over here. I assume is what we're looking for, so. Oh wow, that fill bolt is finger tight. Huh. Okay, it's not pouring out. Wonder if the drain bolt is also finger tight. Could use to be tighter, but it's not that loose. Let's see what's going on here. Do we have any fluid? Yeah, that's pretty fresh fluid in there, and it's not that far down. Yeah, I feel it in there. It's my whole finger. That's brand new fluid, which makes sense. I mean, he swapped it in. He never completed the swap fully. I think he drove it around like a little bit, but he never put the front drive shaft back in and whatever else. So it would be pretty brand new fluid, and it's up to level. So I don't got to worry about that. I can check the rear diff. I do not suspect this to be low. It doesn't have any sort of a leak on the front side. Oh, stop. Stop. It is leaking out, so, well, it's coming out of the fill hole, so we're good. We got fluid. And that U-joint looks fine, too. Looks very clean. Maybe he rebuilt it when he was messing with these drive shafts, because that looks brand new. The grease zerk doesn't even look used. So that's good. Here's what we're dealing with here. It's a starter bracket. Alright, I guess. Whatever. Backlit, but there's a bracket that's supposed to go on the end of the starters for these 6.2 and 6.5 diesels from GM. They make a lot of torque, and they tend to want to wobble if you only have the 2 front bolts put in. On a gas engine, you're usually okay, but the diesels, people talk about cracking the blocks. I have not cracked a block or broken a bolt yet. I've been lucky, but I usually put these on as soon as I find out that I don't have them, which is right when I buy the truck. But what we're looking at, to give you a little more context, is right in here. Right there is the end of your starter. There's the 2 bolts that typically connect it back by your transmission or your flywheel, your flex plate. That would be those 2 bolts. There is supposed to be a bracket up here, and a lot of times it's just missing. And basically there's like, I think it's 7/16 by 20 or maybe 1/4 by 20, some sort of a small threaded rod that sticks out of the end of your starter. It should basically be up at the top there, and then one of that rod threads through, this hole, and then the other one over here bolts into the side of your block. The one that bolts into the side of the block, that is M8 by 1.25 by 20 millimeter, if I remember correctly. There's stuff online that'll confirm that, but man, it's so hard to see. I'm trying to, okay. My finger is on the threaded rod. That is the threaded rod that sticks out of your starter, and then there is a bolt right on the engine block up in there. My finger is, well, it's up there in that ballpark. That is what your starter should, that's the bracket that it should be there to hold it in place so that it doesn't wobble and torque and then break off those starter bolts or crack the ear of your block off. So now there's 2 different kinds. There's a direct drive starter and a gear reduction starter. The one I have is a direct drive starter. This is what's supposed to be on like your earlier 6.2s, but a lot of people replace them with those gear reduction starters from like a 6.5. Now I have this one sitting here because I bought this for my 89 because it was supposed to have this one from what I gather, but it did not. I guess someone had replaced it with a gear reduction starter. So before ordering that one, this 82 should have this direct drive starter, and it should use this bracket, but I don't know. I'll see if it fits. If not, I'll order the other one. The other one just doesn't have this bend here. It's more of just a straight thing with the piece. It's still an angle iron piece, and then it's just kind of straight. So I can't quite tell. I don't know if this is a direct drive starter or a gear reduction one. I assume it would be direct drive, but I don't know. I'll let you know in a second here. It's gonna be super hard to film just because there's no room in here really. I can barely even get in there myself. The direct drive starter strikes again. This is the wrong bracket. Maybe I got the wrong thing online from forums, but this does not fit. It's the other straight, smaller bracket that would fit on this 82. It doesn't look like an original starter though, so I don't know, maybe. In any case, I think this will work. I am just going to drill another hole here, and I'll have to grind the tip off of this guy, and then it should bolt right up. Same concept. So a couple things to note here. I don't know if my solenoid is bad. It works intermittently, and hitting it with the hammer usually helps. It could be going out, but I'm going to try to give it every chance I can. I sanded off all of the sides of the bolts for my starter connection on the solenoid side. Put a little bit of dielectric bulb grease on that as well to help it not corrode in the future. Now I'm having to rethread this 1/4 by 20 over here because on the stud it's kind of messed up. It's not really working, so and I can't really use this guy because it's this big nub is in the way, so I'm just going to try to grab it with a vice grip. But basically, this stub on here, the threads were all messed up. So should be able to do it like this. It is working. So get a little bit of WD-40 on it too. Good as new. So that's what the bracket looks like. That's the 4th by 20 7/16 nut in the stud. That is some heat shrink or heat shield I put around the wiring because it was darn near touching the exhaust manifold, which I did the same thing back here. Yeah, bolted it back up, whatever, clean everything off. That's pretty much that. Let's hook up the battery and see if it starts any better. Glow plugs are not coming on. Okay, let me see if I missed something. Okay, they're on now. I sanded off the terminal and the solenoid for them. Nope. That starter solenoid is still toast. Darn. Big waste of time. Now I gotta take it back out. Now we're running out of time here. My DMV appointment for the title's pretty soon and I need the VIN verification. So sadly I'm just gonna tow this thing down to the inspection station. Now it wasn't cranking last night. I do have a new starter coming in from Mr. Jeffrey Bezos' Superstore, but it's not gonna be here in time to throw it in. So I'm hoping I can get one more start or two more starts out of this thing. Ideally one to back it up on the trailer. I'll just yank it off if I have to. But I'm gonna try getting the jump pack on there because I think that might help the solenoid engage. So let's do that. Okay, so that thing's there. Let's see. Still doesn't want to work with me. Let's see if we can persuade it. Let's see if that does anything. So close. Not enough glow plugs and it is cold. I gotta jump those glow plugs to get more time.